Hello, hello, hello. Oh. Hello. Aha. It's been a while. I haven't done this in ages, especially an OBS Dev stream, so I am quite rusty. Do I need to... Will that help? It sort of helps. I'm not ready. Why would I be ready? Hi, Walking Dude. Hi, Splank. How's it going? Ooh, I wonder. I'm gonna check something. Advanced audio properties, track 6 has desktop. It does not have desktop. Okay. I am super curious because Twitch Soundtrack, which I have not installed, makes the VODs not play certain... no audio on your end? That's unfortunate. Well, hopefully it's an easy fix. I do have subtitles on, which should at least fill in the gaps. I wanna watch my channel, and I wanna quickly go to the VOD. Past broadcast. 8 minutes. I've been live for 8 minutes. I'm curious if there's music in this. Okay, so that's a good sign. Well, I was checking if you could hear the music. Well, in the VOD. Because Twitch Soundtrack makes it so that VODs only record track 6. Although, actually, I'm not running a build new enough to do that yet. That's fine. I really need to update. So, hello. You don't know who I am. I am a full-time JavaScript developer who, in his free time, contributes to OBS what he can. Yeah, that's pretty much the long and short of it, really. I am going to... I'm going to switch albums, because I do want some music in the background, but I don't want it loud and I don't want it repetitive. So let's go something really old, because that way some people will recognize it. Alright, so I've got nothing in particular planned for today. But I do have some tweaks I want to try and finish and submit. First of which... Switch screens here. Oh, and my camera's missing on the other scene. Let's quickly fix that while we're here. Red camera border. Cool. So I have a thing that shows up in the top left corner that includes my socials. I removed Mixer because that doesn't exist anymore, and I realized that was showing up last stream. But I added a local clock because I thought that'd be cool. So keep an eye out for that. It did show up for a second there. I've also made it so that it shows up a little more frequently for longer, because it's set up for like 40 seconds at the moment. There's Twitch on the top left. It's set up for a few seconds every like 40 seconds, and I felt it wasn't enough. I might lower it to like 32 seconds or something. We'll see though. For now, I'm going to look at my favorites, because there are a few things that I recently PR'd. I'm going to move Restream out of here. Yep. I'm just going to open a new window, completely fresh. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to GitHub with a pull request screen. Author me. Okay, so transition volume, I need to work on that, but probably not today. Splash screen, I need to coordinate with Dylan on that at some stage. Launch jump lists are currently a draft and have 4 comments. Let's see what the current feedback is. Okay. Ideally, so that one's waiting on the other one, that's fine. Link to release notes. Let's make sure this one doesn't need to be rebase. It's awaiting feedback. Okay. This one should be fine. So this just shows a little recording icon similar to Google Chrome and Discord to tell you what's happening. Conflicting files. Okay, let's update this one then. This one is Windows taskbar icon. Fork. We don't need Steam open. Oh, my mouse is glitching around. I was doing that earlier a little. Okay, Windows taskbar icon. Right. This one is a stripped down version of that, adds a status icon. Let's rebase this on master. Now, this time I am streaming at 1080p. There are a few reasons, Lemif, if that's how you say your name. The first is some users have very large scene collections. That is the first thing. The second thing is a lot of people install custom plugins, which can occasionally take a while to load. And so, ideally, in an ideal world, OBS would launch immediately. But there's a lot of prep work it does before you see it. Okay. If... Why? 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 Let me just fix this first. Good lord. That's not the only conflict. Oh, someone changed stuff here. Man. Hold that thought. If tray icon, okay, so this goes first. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then this. Yes. Oh, that's why there are conflicts. Because we changed things up a bit. Okay. Ow. Atomic full recording first. Okay. I'll just worry about this later. I thought it was going to be easy. It wasn't. Yeah. So those are the two main issues. Plugins and scene collections. And actually, you know what? Let's load up. Let's load up OBS, and then we're gonna do show. I think. No, is it in window? Basic name. Okay. Okay. OBS init, sweet. So before OBS is initialized, we check a bunch of settings. We log a bunch of stuff. We check for stuff like basic NVENC compatibility on NVIDIA cards. We reset hotkeys, and then we launch the main window. And when launching the main window, we load your scene collection, or try to load your scene collection. If you don't have one, create one. Attempt to initialize video. Oh. I'm going to assume that's a raid. I don't have my Twitch dashboard open. Give my overlay a second to realize what happened. Aha, J-Dude. This minute. Party of 22, welcome. Welcome, raiders. Welcome to the stream. Hope your stream went well, J-Dude. What were you streaming? Can I open your stream from this? Hope things went well. Recent broadcast. Ooh, working on alerts. That sounds fun. My alerts are very much out of date. They have not loaded. They'll catch up. Thanks for the raid. Yes, so right now we're talking about why I have a pull request open for adding a splash screen, which the first draft looked something like this. Essentially, the question was, why does OBS need a splash screen? Why can't it just load straight away, right? Main two reasons are plugins and scene collections. Plugins can take forever to load because they might be checking. For example, NDI might make sure you have the NDI runtime installed. Or if you have a large scene collection, obviously OBS needs to at least fetch all of those files at least once to be able to load. Both. And so we have a graph somewhere where we looked up, because people post log files in our Discord when they have issues. And we basically looked through the last 500 logs and went, okay, how long is it actually taking for OBS to launch for people? And for some people it's 1 or 2 seconds. For other people it's like 8 seconds. Because they have big scene collections or they have slow loading plugins. And something like this would provide you context on, hey, this plugin is taking a long time to load. Or my scene collection is just so large that it takes ages to load. And that provides two things. One, it might have give the developer a reason to look into why. You can, when you close OBS, it logs a bunch of profiling data. Actually, let's look at mine. Log files, view, show log files. Let's do it this way. Let's grab the last one from the 22nd. Run program initialization. Mine took 3.5 seconds. When I tried on the 22nd. So a week and a half ago. And that includes, what's the one that took the longest here? The actual initialize function took 3 seconds. Loading all modules took 380 milliseconds. Resetting video took almost half a second. So that's half a second right there, just running reset video. Let's quickly look at what reset video does. It just runs OBS reset video, which is an internal libOBS. It'll only be in there after you've closed OBS, because this is the profiler that runs while you're running OBS, and then saves everything on close. So loading plugins takes 300 milliseconds for me. Resetting outputs is all quick. And then literally just the load function itself takes almost 2 seconds. So what does load look like? Is that OBS basic? That is not what I'm looking for. But clearly load takes a parameter. OBS basic load? Okay. Ah, there we go. So loading my scene collection takes 2 seconds. Most of the time we don't look at this part of the profiler. Usually the stuff that we actually care about the profiler is stuff like the audio thread to make sure that your audio isn't stuttering. So in this case, mine looks fine. Occasionally you might have an issue where certain sources are causing OBS to lag, where for example they might be, if you have a media source that was pointed to a file but that file no longer exists, the media source will still check to see if that file exists. Aha, we have some alerts. It didn't play for me, but it's Chip, thanks for the follow, and Acrid Shoals, welcome to the order, thanks for the follow. Yeah, there you go, yours took 12.5 seconds to load, and you can break that down. It will tell you, for example, in this case, what's a big one? OBS NDI took 60 milliseconds to load on mine. Yeah. So anyway, as I was saying, sometimes if the file for a source no longer exists, OBS will still try and read the file every few seconds, which can occasionally cause rendering lag. But that's where you would find this, where tick sources would tell you, hey, one of your sources, doesn't know which, is, yeah, your scene collection took 10 seconds. Now, that could be a two-parter, right? It could be that all of your... Nathan, thanks for the follow, welcome to the order. My monitoring isn't working, I don't know why. But if I turn on monitoring properly, because I'm using a custom build, it doubles the audio. So, yeah, that would do it. I would suggest potentially trying to move it to an SSD and see if that helps. Because a lot of it is caching. Well, there you go. So that's probably about as quick as you can make it. Unless we... Because one of the things I'd like to see us do at some stage is a kind of staged load, where rather than loading all your sources immediately, it just loads the ones on the current scene and then waits a couple seconds and then loads everything else. Because at the moment, especially if you're switching scene collections, OBS will literally freeze for a couple seconds while it's switching because it's loading everything at the exact same time. And that's not ideal. Or it crashes. Mine freezes. I don't know why. Oh, there we go. My clock showed up. It works. I'm so excited. That's new. Yes. Well, so if it crashes completely, that is bad. Please post a crash log. But there are a couple issues when switching scene collections, where basically one of the things that OBS doesn't do is it doesn't have events for when a source has finished unloading. So say you have a webcam loaded, and you switch from one scene collection to another. Ideally, it will shut down your webcam from the first scene collection, then start it up in the new scene collection once the scene collection is loaded. What'll actually happen at the moment is it'll tell it, unload everything, load everything. And if unloading the webcam takes too long, which usually it does, it takes half a second at most, what'll happen is once it loads the second scene collection, your webcam will not have loaded and you'll have a blank source that you'll need to deactivate and reactivate, because it never actually unloaded it in time for it to load when you switched. So currently my solution is switch to a blank scene collection, wait a second, and then load the second scene collection. Yes. And that also helps in the sense that now you're not unloading a bunch of stuff and loading a bunch of stuff all at once. You are giving it time to kind of calm down after the first unload, which for some sources might take a couple seconds, and then actually loading the next scene collection. That doesn't solve the problem for everyone, but it's a good little workaround. Yeah. But something I would like to see us do is unload events of, hey, wait for everything to unload before trying the next thing, and loading things a little more slowly. Primarily what's on the current scene, and then out from there. Now, it could be as simple as just everything on the current scene, wait 1 second, load everything else. Even that would be better than load everything at once. A more advanced version might, for example, load, say, 10 sources at once, and then load the next 10 and the next 10, waiting for each of those to finish before moving on to the next. Yeah, so that's... so that's why I have a... Oh, that was laggy. My frame rate dropped there. So, technically it should. If a source is on the current scene, it should perform some level of rendering. There are 2 aspects to rendering. Actually, let me quickly... Am I back on master now? No, let me quickly switch back to the master branch. I'm going to show you something. I'm just going to build OBS. Actually, no, I've got a VM here that's running OBS. Sweet. So, this entire light gray area... scaling... This entire light gray area is a Directx Surface, or a Direct 3D Surface, I think specifically. And what that means is that this entire section is always being rendered by your graphics card. That means any sources within it would also be rendered, even if they're not visible. Now, that's the first part. The second part is the actual canvas. That rendering is forwarded onto to your encoder, and the encoder does whatever it needs to from there. Anything in this area, even if it's blocked by something else, is still rendering, so that it can render the whole thing, right? So for example, say I have this window... Wait, what source is this? Is this an image? Oh, it's a scene. Okay. Well, okay. Here's a browser source, for example. Now, if I have the browser source like this, obviously to be able to see this, it needs to render the whole browser source, and therefore one level of rendering is occurring. That's tick sources, essentially. It's rendering the entire source in one go. Now, because of that, we always recommend, say you're doing, even if you're grabbing a capture card or a webcam, running it at 720p is better than 1080p in terms of rendering, because you're rendering a smaller thing, because you're then resizing it anyway. Because that initial render is being done in the original scale. That's also why Game Capture had, for a while, until 26, it did have a rescale output, and essentially what that rescale output did in the actual properties of the Game Capture source is that would actually render, or it would copy the frames at a lower resolution before they reached OBS, so that once OBS was rendering it, it was rendering at a smaller resolution. So copying those frames was faster because it was copying less data every single frame. We removed that because essentially computers are powerful enough now that copying those frames, especially with shared textures and NVENC, you won't see much of an impact in terms of performance from doing that. The other aspect is, okay, it's off screen, but you could move it in at any time. The source itself is still rendering behind the scenes. In terms of actually rendering in the black square, I think that might have a minor impact or performance difference. But that's something you could definitely quantify if you really wanted. You could load a very heavy media source or a WebGL browser source, stick it to the side here, and then move it here. The way our browser sources actually work, at least on Windows, the visibility, as long as it's active, my guess is it's still rendering. That is a good question. I'm not 100% sure. I would expect it's the same as having it off to the side like this, because it's still doing stuff. It's still on, even if you can't see it. One of the things that we really kind of focused on when we last updated the browser source majorly, and this is something we're going to be looking into again. I just need something that's a browser, not that one. Okay, so here's this browser source. Actually, do I have it loaded? There's spin.js. Video capture. This is my test scene collection where I test a bunch of stuff. Okay, fine. We'll make a new scene collection. A new scene, I mean. And I'm going to quickly make a... I'm going to also quickly open a Ceph compatibility checklist, which includes a link to dev. I load FishGL. Yes, I did. Okay. So FishGL is an OpenGL test page that Microsoft made a while back. So FishGL, one thing that we did is what's called shared textures. Oh, I should move this. Control audio via OBS. Cool. Now, OBS lets you do this, right? Where you have an interact window, you have filter window. Now, all of these, you'll notice right now, are in sync. If I interact with this, all of these are perfectly in sync. Let me hide the bottom right corner. You can see they're all perfectly in sync. This is called shared textures. Essentially, they're all sharing the texture, and therefore there is minimal GPU impact. Essentially, what we're doing is off-screen rendering. It's basically loading that browser source, -5 million or 5 billion to the left and -5 billion upwards. It's off-screen, you can't see it, and all of these are being rendered there, and then whatever's being rendered there is then being displayed here, 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 and here. Previously, all of these would be at slightly different rates, because they would all be grabbing the original texture and then copying it manually, which wasn't very good, especially for performance. So that's the first part, and I'm actually going to put down where not visible. The second part is, here you can see, I can't scroll. So this is a very good demo of the actual rendering that's occurring. Because now what you can do is you can have the main thread, which in this case is OBS, lagging, but the actual browser itself is loading fine behind the scenes. And that page specifically is rendering real time. Yeah. And that's a really good visual indicator of what OBS is kind of, well, what Ceph, our browser component, is doing behind the scenes. It's pretty cool stuff. But yes, there are a lot of moving parts to determining where you can improve performance. One of the main downsides at the moment is that you can't find out which sources are stealing rendering, and for what reason, or what frame rate they might be running at. So for example, some people recently tried using, or for example, say CSGO lately has a new trusted mode, and if you want to run it in untrusted, that'll allow you to capture it with OBS. So one of the solutions is run it in windowed mode and use window capture. And window capture might not always run at the full 60 frames a second, or if you're playing your game at 200 frames a second. That also depends on the source, whether hiding unloads them. If it's a browser source and you've told it to unload when it's not visible, yes. So OBS has two descriptors for a source. Fenrir actually described this in Discord the other day. Let me quickly pull up active versus visible. Let's see if I can find it. So, visible as if it's displaying anywhere. So preview, program, projector, multi-view, anywhere. Active is visible in the program view and nowhere else. So media sources, for example, let's quickly add a media source here. They have a close file when inactive. Yeah. So active would mean visible to program. So if I were to, do I have a video that I can safely show? I don't have a lot of videos on this computer. I have no idea what this is. From 2016. Maybe I shouldn't try loading something from 2016, huh? Okay, what you'll notice is right now it's not loading anything. If I transition that to program, then it loads. And if I'm not in studio mode, this is program. Not really. I wish there was. Well, I'd love to code. It's hard to code and describe all of this stuff at once. I was going to quickly check. Bandwidth test. Stream key dialogues. Success dialogue when recording completed. Okay, this one is the one that I'm gonna continue work on today. So unfortunately, what am I looking for? So NVIDIA does have this very useful page. No, that's fine. The title of the stream is Dev and Questions, so I'm here to answer them. So every GPU hardware decoding on each GPU is different. NVIDIA have a great page. I'll paste it into the Twitch chat for anyone who wants to look at it. And essentially it has every GPU that NVIDIA support. That even as far as the 750 Ti. And it tells you what it can hardware decode. On top of this list, there is also what FFmpeg itself can decode, and also OBS doesn't decode VP9 with transparency, because essentially they're two layers, and what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to decode each layer separately and then put them back together, and OBS currently doesn't do that. But if we look at my graphics card at the moment, 1080 Ti, what's really annoying is you'll notice here, compared to all the cards that surround it, there are two entries on no. And those two entries on no are VP8. So in my case, with the 1080 Ti, I can video decode VP9 8-bit, 10-bit, 12-bit, H.264, AVC HD, I think. Yeah. And H.265, HEVC. But I can't decode VP8. Neither can the Titan X or the XP. Whereas you'll notice all of the 30 series cards decode everything, including AV1. It depends on FFmpeg. So if I load up Task Manager, I'm gonna throw my thing here, and we go to GPU. You'll notice right now I'm encoding with NVENC, but I'm not decoding any videos. Now if I load OBS, did I end up switching branches? No, I didn't. Sweet. Even better. So right now, here's a video that's playing. And if we pull up Task Manager, Right now, it is not hardware decoding, because by default, OBS media sources are set to not hardware decode. If I tick this on and click OK, you'll see an uptick in video decode usage. That is the best way to determine whether a source you want hardware decoding on is actually hardware decoding. So the main reason, we originally, I think in 2500, had hardware decoding on by default. And what that meant is all media sources where the user didn't manually switch it on or off, it automatically turned it on for everyone. Streamers who had all the sources, a bunch of media sources like you, for example, noticed crashing because your graphics card was not designed to hardware decode 200 videos at once. So in like 2501, the immediately next patch release, we disabled that. Because we didn't want crashing for people and crap performance. So currently the recommendation is go through and enable it manually on the sources you think are having the most impact in terms of CPU. Now, you can just run it and then see how your CPU usage dips and how high your video decode usage dips. You'll notice, for example, in the case of this video file, it alone takes 12% of my 1080 Ti's video decode performance. So technically, I could maybe stack 5. I'd probably only stack 4. So your best bet would be go to each scene individually and go, I want to hardware decode these ones that will theoretically have the biggest impact in terms of performance on both lowering CPU usage and raising the GPU usage in the video decode section. That being said, I did add a new setting. If we add a stinger here, you'll notice that stingers, as part of, say, 26.1, the next version, they will have hardware decoding, where possible, enabled by default on stingers, including all your stingers that you have at the moment. Why? Because you can only have one stinger running at a time, so it should be fine. Yeah. So, hopefully that will help some people in terms of performance on that side, but we have no plans on providing a global toggle because in the same way that we don't allow a bunch of image sources in the image slideshow source to all load at once, it would cause instability, and that's not something we want on your side. Our goal every time we release is good performance, good stability. And that's why we only release every 3 to 6 months, because we merge things over time, test them one by one. So the last time, hang on, let's see if I can find this commit, because yep, so you'll notice here, this commit from Jim. Okay, so it was in 2401, we enabled hardware decoding. In 2402, we disabled hardware decoding by default. Now, the next part of it, okay, so here's a good one. We were updating FFmpeg a while back in prep for version 24, and we realized, actually, we don't think hardware decoding actually works. You'll notice, added 200 lines, removed 50 lines. We're not 100% sure, but it fixes hardware decoding support. At the very least, we don't think it worked in more recent FFmpeg versions, so it's possible it didn't work for a while, and we didn't realize. It's possible. But yeah, we were going through and we were like, okay, we're updating FFmpeg, let's make sure hardware decoding works. Hang on. End result is add hardware decoding support in version 24. And then on top of that, you might have seen this just here. We had a hardware accelerated decoding crash when it tried to enable itself. It would fail, so we added a fallback there. And then non-alpha WebM files, we were able to get hardware. We had to enable hardware decoding support for those separately. Because essentially our check was, if it's VP8, use libvpx. If it's VP9, use VPX VP9. And essentially we added, or well, Dylan added, I think that was, yeah, pull request from Dylan. Load this up. If it's transparent, use libvpx VP9. No. If it's... Yeah. Anyway, the general idea was, if it has opacity, don't hardware decode it, because that won't work. And if it doesn't have opacity, decode it. OBS only explicitly uses software decoding for VP8 or VP9 if the metadata suggests it has alpha. Otherwise, rely on libav codec to automatically select the best decoder, which could be a hardware decoder. So yeah, fun stuff. Managing resource usage in something like OBS is tricky because you're trying to do so much at once. And while yes, both your CPU is very good at doing a lot of stuff, and your GPU is very good at rendering a lot of stuff, they're not very good at rendering a bunch of stuff all the time at the same time. If you can lower the amount of potential media sources you are running, say combining them, or even, if possible, sidechain, easy. Filters, on the desktop. Filters. Add a compressor source, then set the sidechain ducking source to the source that will cause it to turn down, and then modify stuff like the ratio. So these are my settings: ratio 5:1, threshold -22, instant attack, and then wait a second to kind of bring the music back up. No output gain. These work for me, they may not work for you. Play with it, listen back to it. But yeah, basically OBS has a sidechain built in. Yeah. One thing you could do, theoretically, is... I know it won't work for a... It won't work for a stinger, but technically you might get even better hardware decoding for media in a browser source, because that is controlled by Ceph, which then might have its own decoder or something like WebM, theoretically. Google, why are you no use to me? Yeah, one of my favorite additions to OBS is the browser source. Not just because I'm a web developer, but because it opens up so many possibilities in terms of performance improvements. I don't know for sure in terms of chroma. Oh, if it's non-transparent, if it's a media source, I think that would probably perform better. Because remember, OBS is doing everything it can on the GPU where possible. So, alright, let's do it. Here's Task Manager. I'm going to stick it in the corner. We have the power. My computer's having some issues rendering, it's fine. Just going to load this. I'm going to go into filters. So right now it's using hardware decoding. We're going to add a chroma key. I'm going to go custom. We're going to pick a screen color. And let's do something simple. Let's do one of the team colors. Similarity minimal. So it is doable. So there you go, you can see the... Well, actually, if we do this enough... It's all done on the GPU where possible. I'm not seeing any difference in GPU usage. Not big enough to worry. OBS itself does all of its compositing, which is stacking sources, adding filters on the GPU anyway. So, yes, if you want a transparent video, well, here's the thing. I personally would recommend a color key rather than a chroma key. Hi Roblox53222. How you doing? I would personally recommend a color key just because if you're working with solid colors, like if I preview scaling canvas, if we look up here, turns out if you hold space, not what I'm trying to do. A color key for a solid color will work much better than a chroma key. If I go custom color and pick the same color that I chose before, it should work better than a chroma key. In this case, the song I'm currently playing is Ascension? Yeah. Ascension by Approaching Nirvana. It's from the Evolve album. If you want the previous song was The Last of Us. The Last of Us. Okay, I sent that to YouTube as well. To the YouTube chat. That's fine. Yes, so I personally recommend a color key if you're working with solid colors. The beauty about most of Approaching Nirvana's music is you're allowed to use it if you've paid for it. There's a Bamba. Yeah, it's all a balance. There are certain things you will be able to hardware accelerate. There will be things you can move to a browser source. There are things you'll be able to move from a WebM that's VP9 with opacity or alpha and move it over to... Apparently, Restream didn't hide that. Can I... It hides it from one chat, but not the other. Right. Alright, let's just talk. It'll scroll up. Yes. So, it all depends on what you're trying to play. You can move stuff around and it'll... you may get better performance out of it. Now, it could be that you're hitting max limits for other reasons. It could be that you're... Oh, there we go. Monitoring works now. And I'm assuming the audio doubled as well. Because that's what it does. But it didn't double on my end. Yes. Stuff to experiment with. It could just be you're hitting hardware limits. And sometimes there's not a lot you can do there. You could try and get a 3090 or the 5900 XT. Is that the new one? Oh, you... Hey, Tim. Yeah, 5900 XT has, looks pretty good compared to a 3090. And cheaper. Too bad it doesn't have NVENC. That is definitely possible. Yeah. I wish I had a 3080. I have a page open for M-Wave right here that I refresh every day, hoping this notify me button turns into a buy now button. Yeah. I want the Founders Edition card. My favorite part is this says, as if they have some kind of sale. Yeah. Even if M-Wave don't get one, I will eventually order one myself from the US. Maybe even via Amazon, for example. But there's just no stock. So the main reason is all of the non-founders all look too plastic and old-fashioned to me. Yeah, US is a Best Buy and... It's Best Buy and something else. Yeah, that's expected. I mean, look at all the people who pre-ordered... Look at all the people who pre-ordered a Xbox One, Xbox Series X or a PS5. Those also sold out immediately. It's just that kind of... Everyone's been stuck at home all year, and so everyone's like, well, I'm just going to upgrade at this stage. Okay, interesting. There's a bug that someone reported that has some discussion going on. September. Out of window capture, that's okay, and OBS freezes when you have a browser source. Weird. Well, we have a network booted image here. Let's do it. Add. There's a browser source on here. Window capture. X composite. Done. Yep, nope, that didn't freeze. I've been lied to. No, this is... The self-capture is a Windows-only limitation. You were the one who experimented with it originally. And... it froze, yeah? On Linux, we do not have that limitation. Essentially, each of the capture... Oh, yeah. Actually, I wonder if you use Windows Graphic Capture instead of BitBLT, would that solve the issue? Should we force it to Windows Graphic Capture and then whitelist OBS? Should we try it? Oh. Guys, I lost control. I need to buy myself some new keycaps. But I was looking, and all the good keycaps are either two-tone or not backlit. Yeah, this one's G910. In my case, this is going to be very hard to show. See how there's a... See that little plastic bit? The one on the other side snapped off. As did the other two. They should all be that long. But the other three are broken off. Bottom left control, yeah. And the thing is, my hands occasionally get sweaty. So my finger just lifts the control key off. Yeah, it's the only one I've had issue with. For me, there are two main things I look for in a keyboard. The first is a volume rocker, so I can turn the volume up and down whenever I like. And the second is the numpad. However, the issue I've started to run into is the numpad takes up too much space. And I have a Bluetooth numpad that I used for my D&D streams a few years back that I might use instead. Yeah. Okay, so, there was a certain command that I'm looking for that allowed you to... I always forget what it's called. Called presentation mode. Why do most of these settings matter when you're presenting? Screencast mode. There we go. Okay. Window capture. I don't remember how we did it. Might have been in window helpers. That looks fun. I don't remember. No, haven't, it's been fine here. Let's actually pull up the rain radar, I guess, for Melbourne. That's rough. I hope they're okay. At least Victoria itself looks fine at the moment. Oh, it looked crazy earlier. I know Sydney had a pretty crazy... I saw a photo on Twitter. Like what looked like a big wave. Let me see if I can find it. An hour ago, it was definitely longer than that. But yeah, everything seems to be okay here. People tweet a lot. That is something that is abundantly. 5 hours ago? Yeah, I probably saw it more than 5 hours ago. 7 hours ago. Oh, MuggleNet tweeted a lot today as well. They had nothing better to do. I'm still at 7 hours ago. Come on. Yeah, I can't find it. Because MuggleNet. I might have to unfollow them. Well, I hope everyone's okay. Weather can be dang crazy on this planet. 9 hours ago? It's definitely this morning that I saw it. Are we just gonna sit here with me scrolling through Twitter? No, we're not. I give up. 10 hours. I got nothing. Alright. So yeah, I don't remember how we were filtering out OBS from the window list. Yeah, I got nothing. So, what was I gonna do? Other than window. Well, we confirmed that's not an issue. And... my screen success dialog. Yeah, I can't find where we filter it out. It's been too long. Anyway, so a while back, a couple months ago, I streamed this cool thing. Now since then, after some discussions and some feedback, and you had the file name and file path was one piece of feedback. Breaking it out into a separate file was also requested. But I'm gonna quickly switch albums. One moment. So yeah. A bomb just refreshed on my side. Recording saved. So that was my original commit. First success dialog when recording completed. However, now I'm reworking it. And I'm reworking it... Where's my to-do list? Recording save dialog rework. I did not describe what my plan was. But essentially, it's gonna show... It's gonna be like ShareX. ShareX shows the last few files that you took screenshots of during this session, and the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, and the last 10 before that. So that's my goal. Whether I will be able to achieve it is another story entirely, but I will try my best. I just saw the screenshot you posted in the OBS Discord photo. That's rough. So I'm just building OBS. And we will see where I left myself off last time. It just says, this will allow for a list of recordings. So my plan was rework it, separate it into its own window, rather than being in Window Basic Main. So split it off into its own thing. And essentially squeeze it in so that... so that it looks like this in the first version. but can be expanded out to show a list later. And that way you can go to File, Recent Recordings, and it'll show all of them. And I might do screenshots in there as well as a separate tab, maybe. So you can look at recent screenshots as well. Because that'd be fun. And actually, replays could be a separate tab too. Or they could all be in the same list with a filter button of some kind. That could be fun. Oh no. One failed. Which one failed? Oh. What do you mean that's gone? Oh, that's right. Jim changed things completely. Oh no. I forgot he did that. So essentially we ran into an issue. Or one of our users ran into an issue. Or noticed an issue. Where if you took a screenshot, the next time you tried to remux a file, it would try and remux the screenshot and then fail silently. Because, oops. So... So he's changed it all and... Output handler last recording path. Okay, I can just fetch that. Oi! And that'll be the remuxed file. That could have been much worse. That could have been so much worse. Okay. Well, we know what we're looking for at least. So, when recording is done, rather than getting remux file name, wait, that's pre-remux. I hate him. Mr. Rackman, no, OBS doesn't have a headless mode, because too many of the components currently depend on the UI. It has been discussed. It would be a lot of work, because currently the main use case for using OBS is compositing, layering stuff. And that can be very hard to do headless. If you need to, say, encode video, there are better things that are command line based, like FFmpeg itself, that you'd be better off using in those situations. But there might be some use cases for a headless mode. Either way, OBS itself needs a graphics card. For example, there have been people who have asked, hey, can I run OBS headless on a server to just re-encode and spit it out. The answer to that question would be no. There are better tools for that, but yes, it has been discussed. Some people have said if someone were to make a headless mode for OBS, it might be merged if it's a good enough implementation, but no one on the OBS team currently has any interest or plan to look into how hard that would be. It's a very long-winded answer to say maybe eventually if someone else does it. So, the issue I've just realized is this is the pre-Remux file name. When? Oh, so Jim just removed this check. Well, that makes my job even harder. Thanks, Jim. What does Auto Remux actually do? Oh, it just runs regardless. Aha, I see. I just have to move it. Because essentially what it's doing is it only sets the value if Remux is enabled. I don't like the term last recording path if that's the last recording for Remux path. Okay. So basically what I'm doing is I'm moving this. Otherwise, that occurs in So what this tells me is it'll be easy if you're not remuxing, but if you are remuxing, there's no easy way for me to add a thing for it to do after the remux is done. At least not from Window Basic Main. I think that's what this is telling me. That's on recording. Not recording. This one's on configure recording. I guess we'll try that and see what breaks. I have to rework everything. Jim, why would you do this to me? Yeah, FFmpeg is very cool in a lot of ways. It does so much. Open file, open folder. Open folder is gonna... I can simplify my code. It's just gonna be a pain. Jim, thank you for making my job easier and making it in the long run, but harder for the moment. Yeah, Nginx RTMP was cool. Let me quickly... These days you want to use... Quickly pulling up the forum thread. Last updated 2014. Okay, that thread is useless. Sorry. Alright, so we're gonna get rid of two of these guys. I don't know why I had an empty string, but that's a thing. I'll figure it out later. Ah. I need that bull. I keep accidentally hitting delete or enter instead of shift. So, parent... and new recording. I'm going to get rid of recording file. I'm only going to do alt path. Means I don't have to read a bunch of stuff either. Oh man, this simplifies my code so much. New recording. Too many pieces that I have to modify. Currently, both of these will open the file. I will have to modify one of these to this one. Ooh, new version of fork. Compact branch labels in commit graph. All of these guys. Ability to save snapshot to a stash. Apply patch by drag and drop. Auto select current commit during bisect. Oh, finally! That'll be useful. To merge and rebase on tag. Global option to always fetch tags. Spell checker language gets disabled after restart. Oh, neat. That's a neat bug to fix. Repository details weren't refreshed on statistics tab in Repository Manager, and sometimes changes is not updated on focus. Yes, good. I did notice that bug. Well, let's restart fork then. Take a look. So, what I've done here is I have these changes I agree with. So, recording's done. Previously I would get main. I would determine config and whether it's advanced mode. And I would store path in recording path. Yeah, so recording path was the folder. Closing... it doesn't have a... Well, it's a restart to update kind of thing. Okay, so what we're going to do is queue... file info. Was I not already doing that somewhere? Apparently not. Okay. Oh, .dir. There we go. .dir, .absolute path. Okay, that should work. Let's try building and see what happens. Alright. Recording done. Takes a standard string, so we will change that. Let's try building and see what breaks. It's not a great way, but... Oh, no. What don't you like? Why are you yelling at me? Widget undeclared identifier. Oh, what did I do? Parent and new recordings. Parent and new recordings. Oh! Ah. Doesn't know what widget is because it's supposed to be a queue widget. No. future is. Right. Use of... Sorry? Don't use CUDA directly. CUDA to... What do you mean? Do I need to import CUDA? No, I should probably just import new file info, probably. Oh, that is imported. Hmm? Okay, I'm confused. It's supposed to return a Q string. If this solves it, I will be mad. Okay, good, it doesn't solve it. I'm confused. Do I just need to import CUDA? Is that what you're confused about? What? That's gonna solve it, isn't it? C++ makes no sense. I thought it was open. Where'd it go? I can't tell if I broke it or if it was broken before. It didn't freeze. Well, it didn't crash. I don't know if that's... Basically, the muxer. The muxer is still running. Jim, your muxer debugging is... weird. Okay. Closing that dialogue actually closed it. Good. No words. No words. Oh, there's some rendering lag. Just looking at my cat while I wait for Visual Studio to load. Okay. When remuxing, the dialogue does not appear. Which I kind of assumed. Let's try it without remux. Or is this because I turned off the dialogue? That would also do it, you know? The shape is slightly different, but that's fine. So if I... Why is one of them save? And neither of the buttons are coded to do anything. Why? How did I screw this up? Let's see if my dialogue shows up after Remux is done or during Remux. That will require fix. I wasn't expecting that that particular part to work, so it's fine. Neither of the buttons work, and I'm not quite sure why. I'm just gonna throw this out the window. Don't mind me just fixing my control key. As a developer, I use that button all the time. Hey, Base Hunter. How's it going? Not the file I was looking for. I was looking for... What is the file I was looking for? These recordings don't you like? So, if it's a new recording... Do I not have it set up to be a new recording when it opens? So, recording done dialogue. Ah, no, I don't. My bad. 6034. Okay, now that I actually have it configured to do the thing that I told it to do, that I wanted to tell it to do, let's try again. I'm just enjoying music. Oh, my frame rate dropped again. Okay. Moment of truth. I don't know why it opened it twice. That's probably my fault. It opened the folder. Okay, why Why is it opening it twice? I can only assume... Auto Remax being triggered more than once? Possible. Does that mean it's remuxing the file twice? What'd you hear, Base Hunter? Me losing control? Oh, when my frame rate drops, there's an audio glitch. I think. Code is running twice. Is being triggered twice. That's problematic. I don't like that. I'm probably going to end soon. Approaching 10 PM and I'm tired. I did not get a lot of sleep last night. Not from lack of trying. So what we're going to do is basic main 5861. I have a feeling we're hitting the auto remux function twice. So the first call comes from recording stop. No. Interesting. Uh-oh. My understanding was we had them disabled globally, Base Hunter. Alright, Tim. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out. You too. Okay, so this one's show recordings done from auto remux. Recording stop, auto remux, show recording done. Remux finished, show recording done. Aha! I'm dumb and I don't need this at all. That's why. That's possible. Basically, those are very active channels. And it's better to keep them as clean as possible. So now we know why it was showing the dialogue twice. Because I told it to. I do like when my code does what I tell it to, even if it's not what I intended. That is very, So question becomes... That dialogue is showing up way before it should. Or the other one is staying around. Oh, that's right, the other one sticks around for 3 seconds after the Remax is done. Which is hilarious. I don't know why it does that. Yeah, it waits 3 seconds to close it. Wait, does it do anything on close? Close event. Ah. If... So I'm doing this wrong. Am I doing it wrong? So the function that I'm doing this in is called Remax finished. It waits 3 seconds to see if it can safely close the dialogue. And I show my dialogue before those 3 seconds occur. What I could do is add another check in the close event handler to show my dialogue when the Remax is finished and the dialogue is trying to close. It's a little dirtier. But that way, it'll wait until the 3 seconds are up. And when it successfully attempts to close, it will then open my dialogue. If auto Remax is enabled. That makes a little more sense compared to the previous design. Oh. Yeah. This is why I have a snack drawer. That's better. Both of these buttons work. This one works. So the only challenge here is this is not an info dialog, because you can't extend an info dialog. So I have to recreate the info dialog with a little info button icon. Because in future, basically this line here will be replaced with a table that lists all the recent recordings. But that works. So today we removed about the same as much as we added there. We removed a bunch of stuff here. We can get rid of this. And actually we can... Which one's this? Window recordings C. Wait, what was that dialogue that I saw while closing? I don't think that was supposed to be there. Can someone slow-mo replay that? I'm just reopening it to see what it was. Yeah, the recording save dialog opens while the main window is closing. I assume I don't have it scoped. Yeah, it appears for a moment while it's closing. I'll have to fix that. Don't know why. Recording done dialog. Recording done dialog. I could change that to an exec, and then once the exec runs out... Yeah, okay, let's do that. How many hours of waiting did you, Yeah. How long did you wait to be able to vote? I'm curious. Oh, that's good. I know some places you guys are waiting like 7 hours, which is nuts. That's not an issue here. Usually here it's like 10-15 minutes. probably start early voting these days. Alright. Here we go. Oh no. It opens another dialogue while closing OBS. That's what it's doing. It's not... Oh. It's not doing what I thought it was doing at all. There's no point in me doing that. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? Your voting is... You have two goals when you're voting. One, person in charge of the country, and the second part is the one in charge of your area. Yes, the first one's important, but the second one to you is more important and will have more impact. In the short run, at least. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going... yeah, window recordings. I'm going to attach a breakpoint here so that when I'm closing, I can find out where this is coming from. This is coming from OBS Remax close event. I see what's going on. Yeah. So essentially, it's trying to... So it hides the window when the Remux is done. It closes it. And then runs close dialogues, which triggers a close event on OBS Remux, which then causes it to open my recording dialogue because Auto Remux is set. So what if I set Auto Remux file to an empty string on the close? Oh hey Auto Fights! How's it going? I'm doing well. I'm getting tired, but I'm doing well. It's been an interesting stream. OBS seems to lag every time I trigger a build, which shouldn't be happening, but I've had some weird issues lately. Originally I thought it was related to my Stream Deck, but no. It's not my RAM, it's not my GPU, it's not my... I think it might be my power supply, to be honest. It's not my storage. I ran a bunch of benchmarks, because essentially I've noticed a thing where when I am launching certain games, all my screens will go down to 10 FPS and then go back up. Can't figure out what's causing it. Latest drivers. Yeah. But it's been a productive day in terms of getting stuff done here, because I updated a bunch of code. Previously I had this little guy. Oh, there's my frame rate. How good is that? Yeah. Switching scenes is laggy too. Great. So I made this last time. And then after some feedback, I was like, that's a good idea. Let's split it out into its own file. And in this case, apparently, this will show up with the Remux dialog. We need to create another function that closes the Remux and opens the success. Then function replace the close. Anyway, and one feedback here was pulling it into another file might be ideal. So I did that in this little commit. No icon in dialog. Because you can't extend a Q info dialog, something like that. But a Q dialog I can extend. So I had to extend that. And that means no icon for me. I had the debugger running, didn't I? Okay, so what I'm going to try doing, and I don't know if this will work. Close event. We're going to set auto remux file to an empty string. And we're going to hope that that fixes the issue. If it does, I'm going to have to follow CG's advice, where he suggests... Man, Remux is big. Where he suggests close. So when Remux finishes, if it's an auto Remux, it waits 3 seconds before running the close function, which is just a standard close function, which triggers close event, which in this case, if it has been told not to stop Remux, if a Remux is still happening, then it won't close the dialog. But if it is done, in my case, it'll now check if it was an auto Remux. It'll blank out the auto Remux file, because I don't want to modify auto Remux for now. And then I open up my dialog. Theoretically, that should do what I want it to. We can get through. Dipso PUBG, welcome. Hope your day's going well. Fingers crossed this works. Yeah, good. I didn't get much sleep last night, so I'm already starting to kind of fall asleep right here. But other than that, it's been a very chill Saturday. Okay, let's see how we go. Move stuff around. Stop. We'll have that. And then once the Remux is done, yep, we hit my dialog, which is fine. Cool. Close my dialog. Close OBS. No extra dialog. Yeah. Now, what I don't know is we have these two variables. My control key has decided to fall off again. Sweaty fingers. Okay. So, if I... Oh, I love this song. Exactly. But I'm too used to hitting that control key with my pinky. There's a green dot here. Chat settings. What's new in chat settings? Why do I have a green dot? What are you trying to tell me? Review unban requests. Oh. Oh no, Twitch chat is... So, thanks, Twitch. That's why I wanted the unban requests. Thanks. Oh, there we go. That's weird. Dipso PUBG, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the order. And Autofights. Thanks for the follow. Welcome to the order. I apologize if those alerts play double on your end. They play once on mine, but I think monitoring is conflicting with the output, and it's causing a duplicate. Oh, excellent. Then why was it playing at double last time? I don't know. DJ. Hello. I'm good. How are you? I'm tired, but I'm good. So, the next question is, do we care when do we care about auto remux being through? Remux next entry. We set auto remux on this guy to auto remux. If it's not auto remux, we display a finished thing. If it's auto remux, we show a progress bar. I do not know C#, and I don't know the Monte Carlo method. Sorry. Most of my programming knowledge came from trial and error. That's how I learn. And really, the way I learn a lot of things is even less by trial and error, but more having a project to do. If someone tells me, hey, how do you do this? Or say I want to learn a new library. Say Vue. Say I want to learn Vue.js, right? I can't just go through the tutorial and make a thing. I need a reason to use the library for me to learn it properly. Because that gives me a reason to understand how it does things, so that I know how to do the things I need it to do. That's my learning method, at least. And so, school doesn't teach you that way very often. They will give you usually tutorials, hey, follow these steps to make this thing. Rather than, here's a goal, complete it as you see fit. Because that's, even though that's how most of us really work, schools are very outdated in the way they check what you've learned and how you learn it and how much you've learned. So, auto remux. If auto remux is on, we show a progress bar. And set the button. And remux is finished. Okay. Auto remux. When end processing is done, if it's not an auto remux, we add a row, which is fine. If it's auto remux, we make it tiny and hide the table. On drop, if it's not auto remux, we actually... Oh, that's weird. Huh. I just learned a weird behavior in the Remux dialog. Excellent. This is going to be weird, but we're going to see what happens. So we need an MKV. I'm just going to do a little recording here. Then while it's remuxing, I drop this on here. Well, it didn't yell at me. 220924. So I don't know if it actually did the thing I thought it would do. Because I guess it would try and Remux twice, wouldn't it? It would add to the file info list. Oh, interesting. No, so it actually doesn't do anything. It just gets the file name, appends it to URL list, which is scoped to this function, and then does nothing with it. I feel like this should go if auto remux, don't do anything. But maybe I'm weird. Okay. So yes, those are the things that would probably be worth changing. My cat is about to ask for food, so I'm going to quickly feed her, and then I'll be back. But this is looking really good. I'm happy with it so far. I will be right back. I'm back. Yes, DJ. That is definitely an option. I don't know if it's something that... I definitely wouldn't include it in this PR, but it's worth considering. Alright, well, let's... I haven't pushed this because it hasn't been reworked yet. The rework is almost done. So, the main thing that it's missing now is the icon, and the resizing is a bit weird. So, here's what we're going to do. Let's see what Google tells us about adding the icon that would be consistent with few info dialogues. This is from 2014 and it's of no use to me. Yeah, Q message box. Q dialogue as custom Q message. No, not Q message box buttons. Hmm. 2013. That's even better. How did I structure OBS recordings? Let's open Theater for 12. So what's everyone up to? While we wait for Qt Creator to load. Thank you. Nights off a night. Open file. And that is not what I'm looking for. What am I looking for? Copy. So the issue with our current design is when we resize this, this guy gets resized. So we don't want this guy. We could set a maximum height. That is an option. But we also need to wrap this guy in a layout. We need to add another horizontal layout. So, pop that horizontal layout here. I'm going to pop the text in the layout. And we're going to add an image, probably. Graphics view, maybe? Yes. So my plan is, let me show you. So that Remax dialog you saw. What? Okay, it's done loading. That Remax dialog you saw, where it's just the progress bar. This guy. That guy is actually this guy, but just the progress bar. Internally, they're both the same thing. And that cuts down on code because the process of remuxing is limited to this dialog. In the same way that for these buttons, open file and open folder, I can share that code with a selected file. Yeah, basically. The other thing is... Yeah, okay, so I can't actually do it this way. I have to have a... vertical layout in here where I have these two guys like this. Right. And then I have an image, which I'm going to just do a graphics view, and I'm going to assume that will work for me. And if it doesn't, we can always change it later. No, we don't need a graphics view. We could use a label and set its icon. How do other screens do it? Where else do we display an icon that isn't a button? Where else do we display an icon that isn't a button? Aha, the about dialogue. Aha, Q label. Good idea. I am SMR. Okay, so we stick a label in the... here. Oh! No. We give this guy a fixed width. Say of 128 by 128. Size. Size. Now the challenge here is the horizontal layout. Because I don't know how the grids work in this thing. So what we're going to do now that we have the dialogue adjusted is we're not going to change its size. Where the width might be worth changing. We'll figure that out. For now, it's swapped my buttons, which I'm not sure I like, but we'll see. And we've added a new row. So we shall see if this does what we need. And if it does, then what we can do is set the icon. For now it's just about sizing. Because the other thing you have to keep in mind is this text... do you want to reload it? Yes. Is this text here will be a different length depending on the language. And so we don't want to make the dialogue too small by default, where the text wraps in a really weird way. Okay. Start a recording, we're going to move this guy around a bit. I specifically made a separate folder just for these test builds, so that I can just delete recordings. Yeah. It's still doing something I don't want it to do, which is this has a flexible size. And so that's being attached there. That's fine. Text label is there. Good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go in here. Where is he? Oh, he's down here. It has a width and height of 256, with a max of 256. Has an empty string. And it has a pix map configured. Now we're not going to do that. We are actually going to do it programmatically. The way we're going to do that, I think, is done in window recordings, where we're fetching... Where am I doing it? I could have sworn I had a commented line that described what I was trying to do. So that the next time I came back, I'd be able to just look at it and... There we go. When using a standard icon, use the one recommended in the table or use the one recommended by the style guidelines for your platform. You can use a custom icon by setting the icon pixmap property instead of setting the icon property. In summary, to set an icon, use either set icon for one of the standards or set icon pixmap for a custom. Now, I don't think this will work. I don't think this will. OBS recordings. Label. UI icon. Set icon. I have no idea if this will work, but it's worth a shot because I'd like to pull that from the system style essentially. View label, okay, how do we set an icon on a label? How do you do it? What else do I do? The cat is back. Let's see what she wants. She wants to look out the window. Window recording. Cool. UI icon. What will you give me? Nothing. Well, say we're working with another label. What options do you give me? Window icon. Yeah, that Pixmap is the closest I can do. Alright, I don't think this will work. This is even less likely to work. Cannot convert icon to Pixmap. Oh, even better. Alright. Moment of truth. It opened. That's a promising sign. Yes, I need to center it, but it worked. Have we reached the... No? Open night. Okay. We did the thing. Set alignment. It's almost native feeling. Not quite, but almost. Oh, and I can safely delete this folder. Ladies and gents, we've done the thing. Technically it is left aligned in the original, It's just not given as much space. I can fix the alignment another time. I'm pretty happy with that. Good job, team. Yeah, I think that's good. All right. Well, that's enough dev for me today. Anyone have any OBS questions before I head off? I'm gonna quickly rebase this on master to make sure nothing else broke. Shouldn't have, but I like to be sure. Awesome, glad to hear it. Rebase this and then sign off. Rebase on mouse. Perfect, no conflict. And at this stage, that's 317 new commits. I'll squash these two once I'm happy with the final result. So the final result will have to look almost identical to this. The left aligned icon, the text label or the message couldn't stretch. And I want some spacing below this. And then I'll be able to update this. Alrighty then. Well, this is going to freeze for a sec, but it's fine. Yep. Coding overloaded. Oh, my graphics card does not like me. 1080 Ti, not happy with me. Thanks for joining. I hope you learned something. And if you didn't, well, there's always next time. Enjoy the rest of your day, no matter what time zone you're in. Thank you to the lurkers who continued hanging out after the raid earlier from... Who was it? I'm bad with names, J-Dude. Thank you to the raiders, thank you to the lurkers, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye! Wrong screen. This one.